Carter family, Carter gang. Man, y'all come on up in the building, you hear me? And we finna talk about your boy Lil Durk. Now Lil Durk, it don't seem like my boy getting out. You feel me? Seem like he got too many rats. It seem like I don't know if he gonna get a young thug, but you never know. I mean, we gonna hold our hope, but it's looking bad. Like Durk ain't even been arrested 3 months, and people already folding and requesting protection, right? So let me read y'all this article on Daily All Hip Hop, right? It say Lil Durk co-defendant seeks protective order in explosive murder for hire case. That protective order, you know what I'm saying? That's to protect the witnesses. You know what I'm saying? That's to protect to somebody that's cooperating, right? You cooperating, you feel like them goons gonna come hit you. So you like, for in order for my cooperation, I need protection, right? All bad. Lil Durk co-defendant has filed for a protective order in this case, right? The high stakes legal saga surrounding rapper Lil Durk continues to play out as the rap star gears up for trial in January 2025. Trial coming up soon. Quick. On Tuesday, Durk co-defendant Kayvon London Grant, aka Cuz, filed a motion in federal court to protect potentially dangerous case evidence. Grant's legal team requested a protective order, citing concerns that the unregulated access to sensitive information could put witnesses, victims, defendant, and those prepared to testify at serious risk. This case involves significant safety concerns regarding disclosure of names and personal identifying information of victims, witnesses, and defendants, Grant attorney explained. Among the evidence at issue are graphic crime scene photos, autopsy reports, and statements from protected witnesses. Right? Statement from protected witnesses, meaning they witnessed the crime. Right? In the whole case, they got somebody that witnessed and can corroborate the unalive for hire. That's what I'm reading. Where prosecutors say could lead to retaliation or intimidation if improperly disclosed. So when they bringing forth evidence and whatnot, they want to be sensitive to that. They don't want, I guess, Durk and them to know who telling until the last minute, until they gotta reveal the person, right? Until they gotta reveal the person. So that's why when you read the paperwork, it say co-conspirators, right? They trying to protect them, right? If we see who the names is in the co-conspirators, that's risking their case because these dudes could get unalive. And we know, Lil Durk and them, they crew, they get busy. And when you got money, as you see, you can find people that's gonna get busy. So, the feds, they gotta protect their witnesses, right? That's all this is. So his lawyer also emphasized the need for strict limits on who can access the materials due to the volatile nature of the case, right? So they don't want none of this to be public record. This got to be kept a secret to trial start. The legal battle stems from the unaliving of Lil Pop, right? Homeboy of Quando Rondo. Prosecutors allege that Lil Durk, whose real name is Durk Banks, orchestrated the murder as a retaliatory strike for the unaliving of King Von, a close associate of Durk OTF crew. King Von got gunned down in Atlanta. According to federal indictments, Durk offered money and lucrative music opportunities as incentives for Robinson's unaliving, deepening a long-standing feud between the two rap factions. Grant is one of the 5 alleged members arrested in connection with the case, along Durk himself. The other suspects, Deontay John Trail, Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston, face charges of conspiracy to commit unaliving for hire, resulting in death in the use of a machine gun in a violent crime. Federal investigators claim that credit cards tied to OTF music label were used to pay for travel, rental cars, and other logistical elements of the alleged plot, pointing to a coordinated effort to carry out the crime. The protective order motion reflects the intense scrutiny and danger surrounding the case. Prosecutors and defense attorneys jointly filed the motion, agreeing to safeguard evidence without compromising the defendant's ability to prepare for trial. Lil Durk, who was arrested in October in South Florida, have pleaded not guilty and remains in federal custody. He faced life in prison if convicted, right? So it's looking tough. The other day, I heard it was maybe Vonnie snitching. Now it's Cuz. On the co-conspiracy side of things, we know it's at least 3 people. It could at least be 3 people telling. Because wasn't in the co-conspirator 2, 4, and 5? So it ain't looking good for Durk. It ain't looking good for Durk. If the shooters and those involved is telling, that's bad. It's almost like you almost can't beat that. Unless you could prove that they lying. Now, the burden of proof is on you to prove that they lying. They gonna do certain little things to prove they telling the truth. Look, I know him, this phone call, this and that, right? You know they got something to say they were credible because the feds wouldn't charge and then they had nothing credible. Because the feds know when you get on that stand, right? You gonna have to prove a lot of stuff. Right? You gonna have to prove in some way, some fashion that Durk did this. And that OTF is connected to business, like, you know, where that's phone calls or text messages, videos, right? Gonna have to be something. So, it ain't looking good. Now, if the person who didn't do the drill, right? The person who actually didn't do it, the people who actually didn't do it, like, say somebody like who booked the booked the plane tickets, got the rental cars or whatever, they can't necessarily bury you, right? They can't necessarily bury you unless they got evidence like, see, look, this is a video recording, an audio recording of Lil Durk telling me to do X, Y, and Z for this. Now, if Durk just tell somebody, oh, rent little folks them a car, that can't get him. If he's saying stuff like, give folks them a plane ticket, that can't get him. Give folks them a hotel, right? So those who wasn't there, he would actually have to told them what was going on and what was it for, and they would have to prove that, right? But if you got the actual shooters snitching, the ones who actually pulled the trigger, they word is going to carry a little more weight. Even though they got reason to lie, you know what I'm saying? And say this person didn't put the big rapper name in the mix, and maybe that'll soften a blow. But for most part, I mean, on the law side, they're going to believe it. They're going to believe it. I mean, they're going to convince some juries. I don't know about all 12, but that going to be a believable story. Like when people who commit crimes and they plead guilty and they give a testimony, the juries tend to believe them, right? And then when you tell, you just can't tell, right? In a court of law, especially for something like this. So even when you telling the prosecutors and the FBI, even if they want you to tell them this, they still gonna demand for you to prove that, right? Prove he sent you. We believe he sent you, but help us prove that. We can't say he sent you if it's just you saying he sent you. Now, it might seem that simple, but in fair cases, I done seen it. Like, it ain't gonna be that simple, especially if you already guilty, you a criminal, you unalive somebody. Just off top, we ain't gonna take your word. So give us something. So that's when the wiretap come in, whoever was wearing the wire and whatnot, they're going to need, and I know how the feds move, they going to want more than these people pointing the finger at Durk and saying he did it. They can make it make all sense, right? See, this ain't got nothing to do with us. Like, this some rap beef. King Von got killed and Woo Woo can break down the story. Now, when you break down the story, you reeling them in, right? You reeling in the jury. Like, yeah, I did this because Lil Durk wanted Quando gone. Well, why he wanted Quando gone? Man, let me tell you. Hey, you heard of that rapper King Von that died? Yeah, we all heard of King Von. Prosecutor so exhibit of King Von, show his video, you know what I'm saying, his reputation, show his murder, and then show him with Durk. And be like, see, him and Durk was close friends, childhood friends, whoop-de-wop. As y'all see, this man got killed. Bam, right? So since he got killed, his friend, his boy, childhood friend, Lil Durk, right? Gang member, everybody gang members, all from the trenches, wanted revenge. Just like most gang members or most friends that want that's living this life and living in this street life. And he gonna want revenge. So he wanted revenge, but of course he too high profile to do it. So he hired us. Oh, how you do you have any proof of that? Yeah. I had OTF credit cards. The car I was driving, we got it with OTF business cards money. Now that still don't mean, but it's so much stuff like to make it believable. Okay, you carried out this hit on funds from the record label that he owns. You say you did the hit because Durk wanted vengeance for his friend. We see that's true. We see his friend murdered live on TV at the club. We know they gang members got a violent history. Oh, we could pull up all these songs. We could pull up Beverly Hills, right? We could pull up songs talking about murder all day, right? So it'll make it believable. So you already got that. You might, he almost could get convicted this, all that, like all the circumstantial evidence, right? When you got a gang of circumstantial evidence, it's a difference when you only got one or two. Like, this is circumstantial. But when you got that many circumstantial, you know what I'm saying? It's like the jury gonna look like and something there. So, and then you add that to somebody telling, and then somebody else, and they just have a whole story. You can make them believe that Durk sent that, probably without even proof that Durk told them that, just by their word. Like, their word might just be believing because it's serious of the nature of what they did, what happened, the history with Quando, Rondo, Lil Pop, and Lil Durk and King Von. Like, that whole situation makes it believable. Now, it's supposed to be beyond a reasonable doubt, right? So that's what the feds like. So it sounds like the feds have evidence and corroborating witnesses. It seems like from the outside looking in, it's a slam dunk. And Durk might be the next Larry Hoover out of Chicago. Great man, very smart, promising, the world in his hands, and it just throw it all away. Just throw it all away, just like I told y'all in the first video. You shouldn't have to pay the guys to ride for the guys. You feel me? And the guys shouldn't need no money for you to ride for the guys. Because if they really the guys and you rich, your guys will have the money to carry this out. Because you already put them in position. Right? 50 Cent boy, Tony Yayo. He got money to book him a flight, rental cars, and do all this. And he got money to do that because he 50 Cent boy. That's his guy. 50 Cent got him in position. He right. He eating. Right? Memphis Bleak. Jay-Z boy. He got money to do all that. Right? Because Jay-Z put him in position and he eating. So Lil Durk made the mistake to where he hired somebody that ain't even really the guys like that. Because if they really the guys like that, why they ain't got no bread? And they ain't really the guys like that, and they ain't got no bread, and you rich, how the fuck can you trust these niggas? When they needed your money to carry out the drill. Durk really crashed out. Really crashed out. And the first mistake is not having thorough niggas on your team that you ain't got to pay, they just gonna go. That's why you had them thorough niggas that's solid in your circle and make sure they pocket right. So they pocket right, and they ain't got to use company cars to rent and do shit. They could have did all this with no connection to you at all. Besides just being your friend. Not using your funds, not no text messages talking about it. Nothing. I know in the hood when the word came back, one of the homies is unalive, Ain't nothing to talk about. We hopping in the cars, we going. Ain't nobody got to tell nobody this or that. And don't nobody need nothing from nobody. We already got the straps. We already got the G-Rods in the hood. Just for moments like this. The big homies, whoever told us ain't got to influence, oh, I give y'all this and this to do it. And let me get y'all this and that. Y'all need guns. Y'all need transportation. Like, nah. We was already trained to go. That's why you got to have them trained to go niggas in your circle and make sure they eating. So when it's time to go, you ain't gotta say shit. You ain't gotta say nothing. The fact you gotta say something higher, I thought Chicago, or not even Chicago, I just thought, Lil Durk, OTF, I thought it was more thorough than that. I seen Lil Durk on $1 million a game with 50 niggas with $1 million on the table. You meaning to tell me all them niggas broke? None of them niggas could have flew out there? I digress. I just thought. But just because niggas is savages and killers, I guess that don't mean they throw roll. I guess that still don't mean they trained to go. Or I guess Von didn't have the love he thought he had. At least in between Durk's circle. Von homies probably back broke. Right? They probably can't do the drill way in another city. Durk guys can. But if Von is your guy and your guys is your guys, I guess King Von really wasn't the guy on 600 for OTF and whatever, because I know the difference between Durk and Von Hood. Durk homies wasn't TTG for Von. You feel me? I guess they look at him as like that's the homie, but he's an O-Block nigga. We're not going out our way, you know what I'm saying? Because our breadwinner, Lil Durk, is still here. Well, if you know your man's want vengeance for his mans, and that's really your mans, and he got you in position eating, and you one of them dudes, you a savage, you supposed to do that without even, Durk shouldn't have to tell you. You supposed to just be sliding. So stay out the streets, because even the most, you know what I'm saying, niggas you feel like it's top ranked goons be stupid. Right? So anybody in the streets don't be in them streets. But if you living like that, you should never have to be told or hired to slide for the guys. You know what I'm saying? Durk in this situation because the streets is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't know the root. Niggas don't know the logic of this shit. Right? Niggas don't know the logic to this shit. The logic would avoid all this. Who was raising these niggas? I guess nobody raised these niggas, right? Guess the streets just raised them. The outside, a wild environment raised them. But it didn't teach you to be trained to go. Or it didn't, like, Durk should have the logic. Like, they all should have the logic. Like, ain't nobody got to tell nobody shit to slide for the homies. When OD got killed, when D-Thang got killed, Durk brother, I feel like they probably, Durk in the circle, they probably already knew to go. You don't hear Durk being tied to whoever got D-Thang, and I know they got back, because that was something close. That's Durk brother in the inner circle. D-Thang also with a nigga with money, probably just got love for them. You didn't have to tell nobody nothing. They wouldn't slide. And they ops in Chicago, so that make it easier. So I know it's kind of different when your op is way in Georgia or way in LA. But if you a slider, you gonna slide. You know what I'm saying? And if you a slider, you one of the guys and your man rents, you should have that. You should have enough dough to take a flight and slide. You should. Just the life you living. But hey, I feel like niggas get rich and get lazy. They want to do drills the rich way. Doing drills is some hood shit. So you got to do it the hood way. You can't kill a man rich man style unless you got people in the police and the FBI, unless you one of them niggas that just above the law. Right? You got to do it hood. Ain't no talking about it. Just going. Whoever didn't go, they ain't gonna know. Ain't no talking about going, and ain't no talking about it when we come back. Or matter of fact, do it yourself if you can. You know what I'm saying? These are the rules to this. Ain't no money being exchanged. That's movie shit. I got 100 on this nigga head. Now niggas do that, but look what happened to him. Looks what happened, especially when the whole beef is profiled. It's rich people. These ain't niggas in the hood. These rich people getting killed in rich areas. And y'all niggas ain't even thorough enough to be in the car that can't, like, how the fuck, how's niggas, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Chicago police, they must don't do their job at all. Because we know it's Iraq, it's savage. Niggas getting killed every day. So it's like, when you grow up in that environment, you should automatically know, like, to do drills in the stolen cars. So niggas in Chicago, it seemed like, because the old Block 6, they did that drill in the rental car too. And these Chicago niggas did that drill in the rental car. So that makes me feel like these niggas be in Chicago doing drills in they baby mama car. These niggas be in Chicago doing drills and shit in cars that could come back to them. Gotta be, because how two different sets of niggas, right? Old Block 6 and Durk OTF niggas, right? How two different sets of niggas is not smart enough to know, like, hey, we can't do no drill in the car that can be traced back to us. Like, the fuck is wrong with niggas? Like, how they don't know that? Two different sets. I think it was what, like 3 or 4 involved in Lil Pop, and six involved with the duck situation. So you mean to tell me 10 niggas that grew up in the trenches, got bodies, been engaged in warfare their whole damn life, and made it this far without knowing you can't do no drill in your car or a car that can be traced back to you? These niggas think all they need is a Pooh Shiesty mask or some shit. Right? So it like boggles my mind. It boggles my mind. I ain't got half the bodies, like I ain't half as savage as the stories that come with these niggas and become behind a city. I ain't never just been killing for sport, right? But I was in the hood, I was banging, and I was active. And I knew at 14 years old that we had to keep stolen cars on deck in the hood just for that. I knew as a kid that I can't be riding no stolen car. I mean, I can't be riding in a car that could be traced back to me. Not even a smoker's car, because they might not know your name, but they probably know where you live, know where you hang out at, know your hood name, and know what you look like. So even I ain't even doing no drills in the smoker car. Right? So how I know this, and Chirac savages don't. Like, what? That what boggles my mind. Niggas make it this far. And I ain't just talking about Durk making it in rap. Niggas make it this far in life. Grown ass men. Been warned since they was shorties. And they didn't know that we can't do, man, and we can't do it in a car that can be tracked back to us. Right? They didn't know they supposed to drive instead of book flight. Now you leaving a digital trail of your whereabouts. Now that you caught that flight, you can't even say you wasn't in Cali. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, wow. I can't believe niggas is this dumb and you done been through all that. Like, how you survive all that, that let me know. I see why Chicago's so wild. They police don't do shit. Because if they police did shit, these niggas would be trained in that nigga in California. That'll be your ass doing a drill in the car that's gonna track back to you. You gonna be sitting in jail. You out of here, bro. You out of here. That you automatic. Unless you know what I'm saying? You happen, ain't no camera saw you, but nowadays it's a 50-50 chance. Even in the hood, because you got these Ring cameras. These doorbell cameras, you feel me? So in Cali, that can't fly. Your ass going to jail. Chicago murder rate so high because they let their killers reign free. I done watched documentaries and I done seen a documentary where somebody put King Von name in a murder, and this one of them unalivings where he never went to jail for. It wasn't the one he had fought with Big Mike or whatever. Right? They never even came and arrested Von. Even though somebody was snitching on him. Let that happen in California. They getting your ass soon as the ink dry. When that person signed that paperwork, that it was you. I mean, before that shit even dry up, before it even get processed in the computer. Right? They on your ass. In Chicago, they let the killers reign free, so it'll be so violent. That's how niggas in Chicago could stack up so many bodies. Right? They say King Von had about, 13? Depending on what documentary and who you listen to, right? They said Lil B had a gang of bodies. It was one, he was more worse than King Von. They say he had like 17. Then you had Lil Jeff. All right. They say his body was in the double digits. So, I remember thinking like, well, goddamn. Is these niggas fucking John Wick? Nah. The police in Chicago ain't shit. And I know they ain't shit because they criminals is dumb. They crash outs. Right? They crash outs. You ain't finding niggas in California with 13, 14, 15 bodies, bro. Not because niggas ain't sliders, but because your ass gonna go to jail before you get that many, bro. Too many fucking cameras. Too many fucking snitches. Right? LAPD on your ass. California will convict your ass of a murder from hearsay. For secondhand knowledge. For real. They'll convict your ass with a bare minimum and take it to trial and believe and try to make sure they select the racist ass jury to get your ass anyway. I done seen niggas convicted over statements that was took back. Witness come to court. Oh no, I made a mistake. That ain't him. That ain't the nigga that shot me. Or that ain't the nigga I seen kill the homie. And I done seen the prosecutor say, nah, believe the original statement because, you know, they just don't want to snitch. You know, they live in a community and part of a culture where telling is bad. So they didn't have time to think about it, what it would do to their reputation. And it'll be difficult for them to walk the streets in their community and feel safe if they tell. So they only retracting their statement because of the no snitching shit. And a nigga could actually be telling the truth, like, oh, nah, that ain't him. They go bring up that shit. Oh, no. He just live in the hood in the community. And he part of a culture that's no snitching ain't allowed. You feel what I'm saying? Verdict come back, your ass guilty. Nigga, they ain't playing in California. Your ass gone. I done seen Chicago cases where Big Mike, speaking of King Von, Big Mike, he snitched on Von and took it back, and that let Von free. That will never happen in California. I'm telling you. If you in California, bro, and you a gang member, and you and your homie drill some shit, and then your homie snitch, right? And then when around time trial or before trial, he take it back. The prosecutors still, they ain't finna motherfucking release your ass like they did Von. No, they gonna go to court and be like, his homie, his first statements, he said this was the original statement. He said this nigga did it with him. He said this nigga was with him. But now, he taking that back. He gang member, he from the streets, the no snitching. He want to go home and live in the community and not have to walk around with a snitch jacket. This is a part of their culture. And they would have took Von ass to trial in California. But in Chicago, they like, fuck it all. You taking it back? All right, man, let this nigga Von out. Knowing this nigga a killer. Right? So I see now why Chicago's so bad. The police, the homicide detectives ain't shit. They ain't arresting shit. They ain't arresting nothing. Right? Nigga, in California, nigga, they only gang injunction. In California, in certain neighborhoods, you can't walk around more than three minorities with you. You can't walk around more than 3 deep. You walk around 4 niggas, gang injunction. Your ass could go, you go to fuck the jail in LA. You could go to fuck the jail in certain neighborhoods in South Central if you 4 deep. That's illegal. Right? So they on our ass out here. You gotta be John Wick out here. In Chicago, it's a wild, wild west. It's like LA in the 80s and shit. You know what I'm saying? No cameras. You know what I'm saying? Dope game. Everybody got money and machine guns and shit and switches. And niggas is killing. Because the police ain't doing shit. But what the police bred, what they bred is some dumbass criminals who gonna crash out. So niggas in Chicago probably been doing murders in they own cars or cars that could link back to them they whole fucking life. Nigga get out here and do that shit in California, boy, that's your ass. Like, you can't get away with that shit. This ain't Chicago, like, nigga, the detectives, like, the prosecutors really finna get your ass. And they don't care about niggas taking their word back on snitching like Big Mike. Once you snitch in California, nigga, that's law. They gonna use that statement whether you try to take that shit back or not and still prosecute the nigga that you was talking about. Right? So it's like, damn. So 2 of my niggas out there in Chicago, y'all better do how we do it out here or how, you know what I'm saying? How we was doing it when I was coming up in my generation, right? I ain't part of this generation. But we kept 5 or 6 stolen cars in the hood. Just for this. If these niggas drove, spent their own money, and was in the car not connected, that can get connected back to them, Durk could still be free. Durk could still be free. So that question me about Chicago police, they want niggas, Chicago police, they want niggas to kill themselves. I bet you the top of that order is like, man, let these niggas kill each other. Okay, we know Von a murderer. That's why we gonna let him stay free. We know Von killed old boy. We heard about 5 or 6 unalivings he got. He doing us a service. We gotta let dudes like Little Von and 051 Melly, dudes like that. Now we gotta let them, you know what I'm saying? They finna clean up that. They finna depopulate niggas for us easily. You know what I'm saying? They finna clean the city. If you let the killers stay, we gonna get rid of all the other peasants. So in Chicago, they let the killers drill, bro. I done seen it from a distance. Just looking and studying their cases, bro. Like, it ain't nothing like in California. And they came to California on some sloppy Chicago shit. Right? So it just blows my mind that you live in that environment where it's murders and killings every day. Is real gang warfare going down in Chicago. And niggas don't even know the simple rules of what car to drive or not. Niggas don't even know the simple rule of you can't be in a car that could trace back to you. Simple. But I ain't gonna keep y'all too long, man. It's Carter Gang Family, Carter Gang TV, and I'm out this thing.